Patrick Mahomes.
You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts or on our YouTube channel, all over social media, or our morning newsletter, KCSN Daily, dedicated to your Kansas City Chiefs. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to the KCSN Live post-game show from the Kingdom Bar and Grille out in Overland Park, Kansas. I'm BJ Kissel, joined by my co-host, as always, Kent Swanson, Tucker Franklin producing, and we'll have Maddie Lane and Craig Stout joining us here in just a bit as the Chiefs pick up their 7th win of the season, move to 7-2 after a 27-17 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kent, let's talk some headlines before we bring on the other 2/3 of the laboratory. Man, this is the Kadarius Toney game. That's how I'm going to remember this one, because we all had, even the most optimistic Chiefs fan was hoping for a game like this. The pessimistic ones didn't know if he was going to make an impact. And here in his second game makes a huge impact with McCole Hardman not in the game.
He was outstanding. It was so much fun to watch this. You know, I think there was a lot of low expectations for Kadarius Toney this year. Not kind of understandably so. Like, there's been some injury concerns. There's been, trying to get in acclimated in the middle of the season is always really difficult. But he put out a really solid performance today. Yeah. I mean, I was very, very impressed with how they were able to utilize him on some simple concepts. But what he was able to do with him was so impressive. And it gives you a little bit of excitement and juice for moving forward with this offense.
What I love most about his performance, 6 touches, 90 yards as far as offensive yards from scrimmage, had the touchdown. But to your point, he had the jet sweep. I think it was the 33-yarder, the big play that he picked up chunks yards there. But the rest of it, it wasn't just jet sweeps. They threw him some passes, different areas of the field, caught the one up on the sideline, showed a little bit of everything, and that the playbook is opening up for him. And some of those are obviously package plays for him where he knows he's going out there. But some of those, the way in which he was probably not the first read on some of those passing plays, shows that he's fitting within the scheme of the offense and not, here are your 6 plays in the game, we'll try to fit you into those.
His role expanded a lot more than I anticipated early. I mean, they had him isolated on the backside of the formation, threw him a fade route, and he went up and got the ball. He was used in the middle of the field a little bit. They used him on some of the manufactured touches stuff. Like, there's a lot of different ways that they got him involved, but that dude he got me juiced and got me really excited about him, because he kind of put on display the talent that got people so excited and why he went in the first round.
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, the 101 The Fox Facebook page, you're watching on the KCSN YouTube, you're watching on Twitter, wherever you're at, send us your comments. Give us a grade on your performance for Kadarius Toney in his debut, second game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Appreciate the shout out of the hoodie. Right now, you've got about 15 more minutes. If you're watching this and you have access to Twitter, go to the KC Sports Network Twitter account. Make sure to follow us. Retweet that. You can win a hoodie and one of our T-shirts. Thanks to our friends over at Charlie Hustle hooking us up with some new gear as I try to figure out how to talk here.
I'm wearing mine too. I'm just a little chilly.
There's the shirt.
I'm rocking it.
There we go. But we appreciate everybody for watching.
This rest of the night?
You should.
I don't think I can do that. I feel uncomfortable.
Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you're out there watching, or if you're listening to the podcast audio after the fact. We appreciate you. But give us your questions, your comments. Tucker will make sure to bring those up. You see scouring Twitter for some post-game updates. We'll get some injury updates here a little bit later. It's obviously a headline for this. Want to make sure we get those right with whatever Coach Reed says after the game. But another standout performance in today's game. Another player basically making his second start for the season, because he didn't play much in week 1, is Trent McDuffie. That dude's a good football player,
man. And like, we're talking about some of the moves Brett Veach has made. He went up and got Trent McDuffie. He obviously went and got Kadarius Toney in the trade deadline. But man, a lot of conviction in Trent McDuffie as a good football player. Boy, he is putting that on display so far. I mean, what he did today, again, continue just to stack good performance on good performance, playing as an outside corner, a little bit on the smaller side. going to get some challenge down the field, but he's playing the ball well. He's playing the man well. On some of these shots, that the Jaguars tried on him, and hey, good luck trying to throw over Clamps McDuffie there. He's been outstanding so far. So many little things about what he does, his instincts, everything. It's been really, really impressive so far.
Yeah, it was big moments that they were throwing. His third downs, it was when he was being challenged and physical, up in the face of the receivers, but not so much that he's borderline getting a call.
Yeah.
His athletic fluidity to run with world-class speed guy. I mean, playing cornerback is the hardest thing to do in the NFL outside of playing quarterback.
It's
but
tough.
Physically, it's the hardest thing to have to be a reactionary player in those moments. And what we're seeing from him, it's just instincts. It's natural. It's what stood out, during training camp, during that second half of training camp where everybody was asking, where's Trent McDuffie? Why haven't we heard a lot about him? And it seemed like for 4 or 5 straight days, he was just making plays all over the place. And I think it changes the complexion and complexity of what Steve Spagnuolo can do with his defense when you have a young player out there you can trust to put it on island and to make plays like he is right now.
And it's such a bummer that, there was such a gap in the time that he was getting to play on the field. We all were, I think the Minnesota Vikings have taken the lead. And, the Buffalo Bills are losing right now with less than a minute left. That would be massive for this Kansas City Chiefs football team. I've been kind of keeping an eye on it.
To that.
Yeah, let's just do the little toast game. We might be toasting the Vikings here. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for the good vibes for the Kansas City Chiefs potentially being in the 1 seed in the AFC here very quickly. But back to Trent McDuffie, it was a bummer to not get to see that big gap in the season where, he didn't get to play. Yeah. But I think what you're seeing, I've seen enough to know, I think I've seen enough to know a lot about him and what he's capable of doing and why he was taken so early. I mean, he was a top 15 player for us in the KCS and draft guide. And I think he's validated everything to this point. Small sample size.
Love to hear it. Let's continue on with our headlines from this game and not taking it for granted. He's down there at number 3, but Patrick Mahomes saw it again. He finished 26 of 35, 331 yards with 4 touchdowns and the 1 interception, but also had the 7 rushes for 39 yards. As the Chiefs, wow, you look at this. I mean, a lot of it was towards the end of the game, but they finished with 27 carries. But before we get to that in the running game, which I'm sure we'll get to later in the show, Patrick Mahomes' performance, what do you think tonight, Ken?
Yeah, he was great. I mean, there was a little bit of a scare early on with the ankle. He got rolled up on a little bit. Didn't seem to phase him the rest of the game. Kind of looked like it was a little bit rough during the rest of that possession, but I think he did a great job just moving, getting the ball out of his hands, throwing the ball with conviction, giving some guys some opportunities to make some plays. I think that was one of the things you saw, to close the game out with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, throwing the ball out there, Kadarius Toney throwing a fade up top, giving some guys some chance to make plays, but also just, hitting all the easy stuff. It was a really just a workmanlike performance. Obviously the interception, you want to clean that up, but I mean, this dude's the MVP favorite for me. I know yeah. I'm slightly a homer.
And all of the betting sites, I believe, have him as the odds-on favorite. I know DraftKings definitely does. I believe the other ones do as well.
Yep. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're watching. Justin Jefferson was ruled down. This is a 4th and goal. They're going on for 4th and goal right now. The Minnesota Vikings are. That is they're going to call off. I think they're going to call offsides though. But the Vikings were stopped short of the goal line. We're keeping an eye on this game. This is a massive game for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sure that might be why there's probably a few people still watching. We're going to wait for them to funnel in. We can all celebrate together.
Yeah, and we appreciate if you're listening to the audio afterwards. You're listening to us react live in the moment of what's going on between the Bills and the Vikings. But, Patrick Mahomes' performance, we talked about it during the week. I know I talked with Trevor Sikkema from Pro Football Focus on KCSN Update. I talked about it with Brett Coleman on KCSN Update that the Jags play a lot of zone defense. And they had mainly because they didn't have the dudes in the secondary. It was kind of the prevailing thought. They didn't have the guys in the secondary to play a lot of man defense. But we had seen it throughout this year that a lot of teams that predominantly played zone and played more zone were playing a lot more man in general versus the Chiefs. And we saw early in this game, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, those guys absolutely just tearing them apart with that zone coverage.
Looks like the Bills might have stopped the Vikings short on 4th and goal. So very close to pulling that one out, but it looks like he might be falling short. How depressing is that for Chiefs fans? But yeah, no, I think the receivers, across the board, I mean, and look, the receiver depth got challenged today. We haven't even talked about Andre Cisco with all these cheap shots today.
Yeah.
But the depth of the receiving position got tested a little bit, and that's why you saw Kadarius Toney get involved a little bit. They were able to make some plays out there from the receiver position, despite Juju Smith-Schuster going out. I mean, there was some question about Marquez Valdes-Scantling at one point because Andre Cisco headhunted again for the second time in the game. So, and I know we might have some discourse about that too. But, you saw the depth of the receiver core kind of go. But Noah Gray making a big play as well. Like, there's just a lot of guys stepped up today. Maybe not all the superstars as we've consistently seen, except for Mahomes.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, 9 different guys caught a pass. So
it's amazing.
He just keeps spreading the ball around. And shout out Chiefs offensive line. I thought they did a really good job in this game. We knew the strength of this, Jags team, besides Travis Etienne, was going to be that front. It was going to be Josh Allen, it would be Travon Walker, the dudes that they have up front to try to get pressure. It was the only chance that they really had to put any kind of stress on the Chiefs. And shout out to the Chiefs offensive line, especially Prince Tega. How do you say his last name?
Winogo. Prince Tega
Winogo. Shout out for him stepping in for Angie Wiley, who left with the elbow injury. Again, we'll get more updates as far as the injuries go. And let's spend a couple minutes talking about Andre Cisco. I know Maddie and Craig will probably have their thoughts to share as well. But one of the storylines outside of Kadarius Toney, Trent McDuffie, that you're going to remember about this game was number 5, just going out there. And especially we talked about it, especially the second one for me, just that intent was not anything that the NFL seems to say that they're trying to protect players and things like that. I don't know how you watch the second one and think there was anything but ill intent.
I looked at it was a wave of emotions for me. So I watched the first play. My initial thought is dirty hit, and then I kind of get a little bit like I don't know how to explain it. Like maybe it wasn't ill intent, maybe it was. I'm not quite sure. But then you see the second play to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Makes me question everything in the intent of the first one, because these are 2 headshots that are right. In the first one, he does kind of look like he turns his head to maybe try to help initiate contact with the head. And then you see it again later where it's like just a blatant, disregard for the safety of Marquez Valdes-Scantling, where it's an intentional launch right towards him. Got a little bit of, I don't know. It made me question both of them. And I at this point kind of just feel, and we talked back and forth about this when we were just watching the game. Yeah. I felt dirty. I think both were dirty, and I'm sticking by that now.
You put them back to back, especially the way they reacted after the second one. The first one, you've seen plays looking very similar to that, where they lower the crown of their helmet, and it could have been a lot more egregious. Not that it wasn't, and he did hit him by rule with his helmet first. I just feel like in that moment, if he was really trying to stick his crown of his helmet up into his jaw, like we've seen before, it could have been.
The Minnesota Vikings have just scored a touchdown as the Buffalo Bills attempted to QB sneak, fumbled at the goal line, and have
oh my God,
a miracle has happened in Buffalo for the Kansas City Chiefs. An absolute miracle. Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me?
The Chiefs might be back to controlling their own destiny. Unbelievable.
Holy Buffalo. That is in Buffalo.
So Josh Allen, so the Bills had the ball at the 1-inch line. They had to QB sneak to try to just give themselves a little bit of space. The Vikings have 1 timeout. They're only going to be able.
4.
They're up. The Buffalo Bills are up 4. They needed a touchdown. Josh Allen fumbled the ball on the QB sneak. The Vikings recovered in the end zone for a touchdown, and now they lead. And if they make this extra point, the Bills need a field goal to tie it. Unreal. This is unreal. Oh my gosh.
That's so much. The only situation,
oh my gosh.
The only game that I can think of where a situation has happened like this was the Chiefs-Chargers game back in
with the Phillip Rivers.
It was Phillip Rivers, Andy Studebaker.
It was 2011.
Came out, they were trying to run out the clock, and the Chiefs got it.
This is unbelievable.
Oh my God! How much time's left in that game?
There's 37 seconds left. The Bills have plenty of time. Josh Allen, from the game, from what I've seen, has not looked like his normal self though today. This is incredible.
Wow.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're listening or watching. This is good vibes. Hit for the vibes. The Chiefs can control their own destiny in 37 seconds here. The
Chiefs should be the only 2-loss team in the AFC.
Unbelievable. This is surreal. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Let us know what you think about the end of that Buffalo game if you're out there watching at home or catching the highlights on Red Zone, following along on social media. I feel like we're missing a little FOMO right now with social media.
Yeah.
What's going on, but
I have a feeling there's a chance that we're going to have a lot of people coming back into the YouTube video here in about 37 seconds. This is incredible.
All right. Let's keep talking about the Chiefs and Jags as the Chiefs took care of business today. Again, 27-17 win over Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And maybe, is it time to bring on our boys?
Let's do it.
Let's bring on Matt and Craig Tucker. Tucker's hard at work over there trying to get all kinds of stuff done.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Is that Jason Mraz or Matthew Lane?
It's not the you're not the first person that's ever made that comparison for me. So you know what? We're just gonna roll with the punches.
Look at what is this hat?
Kent.
What is
Sweet
this hat?
ref, buddy?
I've been outside. I got the windows open in the house. It's like 45 degrees here.
Maddie, that's like sleeping weather for you.
Yeah, it is. Why are you tearing me down, Kent? Like, what is happening here? Why are you trying to tear me down?
I don't know.
We spent 4 minutes doing live play-by-play breakdown of the end of the Vikings-Bills game. So let's bring you guys on, get us back here, talk a little bit about what we saw in this game today. Guys, I don't know if you heard our original top headlines that we did off the top of the show, but Craig, we'll start with you. Just what stood out to you most about this performance and this win for the Chiefs today?
I am only ever going to talk about Trent McDuffie from here on out. So every answer that you're going to get is just about Trent McDuffie, the all-world corner. Serious, I said it on the lab earlier this week, and it was based off of a game and a half of reps that if he had played all year long, we'd be talking about him with Tariq Woolen and guys like that because he has been so good for the Chiefs when he's been on the field. This is yet another performance where Trent McDuffie goes out, allows his first true catch out there on a perfectly placed ball that was just an absolute dime and a hell of a catch by a wide receiver there. But Trent McDuffie has been elite. He has put the clamps on everybody. He is taking throwing windows away as a smaller receiver against bigger guys. Like, it is so fun to watch him play football at every facet. I am enamored by this kid. It is a blue chip player already. We're 2.5 games in. I know it's early, and I know that can come back and bite me in the ass. I'm calling him already. He's a blue chip player for this defense.
Well, Craig only wants to talk about Trent McDuffie, so it's only fair. I'm just going to talk about Kadarius Toney and nothing else, right?
Let's go!
We covered the entire Chiefs game. It's McDuffie and Toney. That's all that matters. Listen, this is the second game out there. Yes, with McCole Hardman not playing, there is a clear role that had to be filled, and it perfectly fit Kadarius Toney's skill set. However, that play, that long run where he hits the spin move between two guys at full speed, that's literally the highlight package you get. Now we're just getting the catch. Now we're just starting with the good stuff. Look at him. That's some Tyreek Hill level stuff right there that you're getting on the video. He's elevating way up above what he should be able to do, going up and snagging the football on that little slant and go. Here's the touchdown. Like, his game was phenomenal, but just that one catch and run, or it might have been the end around where he hits the spin move, that is absolutely everything that you wanted to see from him. That's what he did at Florida. Yes, this player breaks the tackle and this spin move, that's the exact highlight he has from a game at Florida coming into the NFL draft. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and I'm ready to say the NFL messed up. The NFL should not have let the Chiefs acquire this guy because now, no, he's not Tyreek Hill, but he can do some of that same stuff in terms of being dynamic and being able to go up and win a football and separate and be an electric playmaker after the catch. The Chiefs having that guy that can consistently do that is a problem for the rest of the NFL. They let the Chiefs get one.
Well, and like, I'm not going to try to spend too much time drawing McCole versus Kadarius Toney comparisons and all that stuff.
Shouldn't.
I am a proponent of Kadarius Toney getting more of those manufactured touches moving forward. But it's so refreshing and cool to see a guy that's able to, bounce off contact differently, make people miss a little bit differently with some change of direction, short area quickness, stop and start, but still have the burst and the speed that you see that really helps make some of those plays effective. It's been really exciting to see those plays kind of happen here. in a very short stint. Again, small sample size, like but like it's exciting. It's an exciting. He's electric. He adds an element, and the Chiefs have already figured out how to use him in a real, meaningful, impactful way. And that's really cool to see at this point.
It's almost like you should go out of your way to acquire amazing athletes at every position. It just doesn't matter. Like,
you think that matters?
What?
I think it matters. I mean, listen, peek behind the curtain. That's the entire premise of my CBAT article that I write every year.
What?
The KC Draft Guide. Draft
Seriously?
good athletes. Guess what happens? They're good at football. So yeah, no, that's what you see. You see him out there. He moves different than a set of NFL players. You see him gaining separation, that spin move, the elevation on that play. You don't see guys do that very often. He is in the 1% of the 1% at this level, and the Chiefs have already figured out a way to manufacture touches for him, get him the ball. I mean, Andy played coy throughout this entire thing. This is a future move. We'll see. It takes a little while to get him integrated, and obviously wide receiver injuries forced him into that, but holy cow, it has been amazing to watch him already in this offense. It's truly going to open stuff up in December, January, and February.
Everybody is watching this Vikings-Bills game at Kingdom Bar and Grille right now. Looks like a potential incompletion here. There's only about 18 seconds left in this game.
Vikings are comfortably, or not Vikings, but the Bills are comfortably in field goal range. It was a catch. They got another snap off. They've already moved on by it. So, yeah.
I can't believe they didn't review that.
I can't believe they didn't review that either, honestly.
I think they just get too fast. Oh, yeah, that's definitely not a catch, though. Now we're getting replays of play late. Definitely didn't catch it, but they already got the next play off and picked up yards. So
you're not allowed to do that in a 2-minute situation. That is just egregious officiating. That's not a catch.
Yeah, that's bad. No, that's a terrible. That was terrible. They just showed the replay finally.
Unbelievable. You're not allowed to do that. You can't do that.
Another thing I was hoping they would show during that game, to go back to what you guys were talking about, was Brett Veach after one of Kadarius Toney's last play. It would have been really nice to show Brett just sitting up there smiling.
Just put him right there in the booth.
Yeah, just right in the booth, just with a big old smile on his face.
And they're going to call a hold. So they're just going to gift this game to Buffalo, it looks like. Interesting.
Well, 5 seconds left. I think they just kind of have to kick it here.
Yeah.
I don't think you have a chance to do.
We are just a mess right now. We are just a mess right now here trying to watch this game. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more just about the offense. We've talked a lot about Kadarius Toney. We talked about Patrick Mahomes. I think one of the interesting storylines, Isaiah Pacheco, Maddie, gets a lot of run this game. I don't believe Clyde Edwards-Helaire ended up with I don't think he ended up with a carry throughout the game, if I'm remembering correctly. It's 16
overtime.
16 for 82. 16 for 82. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no carries. Isaiah Pacheco, 16 for 82, 5.1 yards per carry. Had the fumble, but the running game ran through Isaiah Pacheco, Maddie.
Even after the fumble, if there was ever a chance for it to go back to Clyde, that would have been it. Now, I wasn't surprised to see Andy come out and immediately go back to Isaiah Pacheco, because that's kind of what Andy does. But the fact that they stuck with him the whole game, McKinnon, I know he was banged up, so that's probably why he didn't get many carries or anything. But it was entirely the Pacheco show on the ground, and there's still a little bit to be desired there, right? It's still not a perfect run game. You still see the fact that he's a day 3 draft pick at running back, but he just runs so hard and does such a good job getting downhill and getting every little bit of yardage that's available. And that really mattered in the second half. In the second half, you could see him starting to rumble forward. He's falling forward, picking up extra yards. The Chiefs' run game wasn't great, but it was more than enough to help balance out this passing attack, and it makes them that much more dangerous.
It absolutely does. And it was nice to see Andy do what he typically does with his young players that he wants to keep giving confidence to. After that fumble early, put the ball in his hands again. Get him going again. Try and get him some more touches. Try and get him comfortable again. I do think it is worth noting in a big, big way the usage for Clyde Edwards-Helaire has gone down. And we're not even just talking about in the run game. He's not on the field in the passing game either. The Chiefs were fairly depleted at receiver, and we're having to lean on Jerick McKinnon a lot in this game to try and, get some, check downs, man beaters, stuff like that to Jet. And it worked. It really did. But you could clearly see that he was getting a little bit tired. Clyde's not the one that's coming in the game. So I do think it is something that we have to keep tabs on. Andy likes to go with the hot hand, and it is very clear right now Clyde is not the hot hand, and they're going to go with the rookie here. And the Chiefs are going to have a fifth-year option decision to make in the very near future here. And as it stands right now, I don't know about you guys, I would not be surprised if the Chiefs just decide not to pick it up.
I would be stunned if they do. I don't think there's any chance that they're picking that up. Jerick McKinnon actually led the Chiefs in targets today with 8. So he had more targets than Travis Kelce. So there was some pass plays funneling through the running back position, and Jerick McKinnon got 8 of them, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire got 2 of them, and none for Isaiah Pacheco, but he did do the vast majority of the ball carries. Actually, Kadarius Toney had more carries than Jerick McKinnon today too.
Yeah, we actually had some records. So we talked about Kadarius Toney. I don't think we mentioned the fact that was his first career touchdown in the NFL. Marquez Valdez-Scantling got his first touchdown in a Chiefs uniform. Carlos Dunlap got a half sack, which gives him 100 for his career, putting him in pretty esteemed company, especially when you look at the current players in the league that have done that. And then the other one, Patrick Mahomes, although this one we've been following for a while, but now has the most touchdown passes of a player through their first 75 career games in NFL history. Already had wins, I believe, or he's second in wins behind Otto Graham, I believe, and then already had the most yards. So going to get right there. He's going to pass Otto Graham if they win the next couple games. He's going to own the record for the most wins,
Patrick
yards,
Mahomes,
and touchdowns.
Patrick Mahomes has not played 75 games yet, but he still has to.
That was his 72nd career game, so he should
exactly
extend his lead from here over the next 3 games.
Another 4-touchdown game for Patrick Mahomes. Just insane.
Absolutely great.
Prince Tigoanoga seemed to do fine. Stepping in replacement of Andrew Wiley. Anything on that, Maddie?
The only play that stands out is the fullback dive, where he definitely let the defensive tackle slip underneath him. Like, he's got to drive that down a little bit more. But besides that, he looked pretty good. The Jaguars weren't getting a ton of pressure against the Chiefs all game. When I was trying to focus on him a little bit, I thought he did a great job. In terms of a guy stepping in to play right tackle, who's essentially the Chiefs' backup right tackle, maybe third string if Lucas Niang would be healthy all year, I thought he did a great job, and I'm actually excited to go back and watch because I think just based on what we saw from him in college at Auburn, his movement skills, his athleticism would definitely be something the Chiefs' offensive line could use. Orlando Brown Jr. and Andrew Wiley aren't the most athletic, most fleet of foot offensive tackles that Andy Reid and Andy Heck have had in KC. Having somebody like Prince out there who can do some of that stuff, getting out into the open field, pulling around the edge a little bit more will be huge for this offensive kind of game planning. So I'm excited to go back and watch him to see what he looked like. Hopefully Wiley's okay. Hopefully the elbow is completely fine. But I thought Prince did a really good job kind of stepping in there versus a defensive line that had been good. They don't have elite premier pass rushers, but they have been really good across the board. And I thought he held his own.
And I know that people are going to jump to this and say, oh, he should be starting. Prince Tega should be starting. But it is worth noting Andrew Wiley looked good before he went out as well. Like, there was not a whole lot of pressure coming off of that right side. They were not protecting them in the way that we've seen the Chiefs kind of protect some of their right tackles. They were leaving them one-on-one for large portions of the game, and it didn't really matter. Andrew Wiley did a great job. Prince Tega did a great job. Even the tight ends, when they were condensed against some of the Jaguars pass rushers, did a really good job holding their own. By and large, the offensive line, the pass blocking was really, really good today. Patrick Mahomes was not rattled for very much of the day. I think the only major shot that he took was on that looping blitz that came down where Marquez Valdez-Scantling just made an absolutely insane one-handed grab. That was really the only one that I can think of that jumps to mind is him taking a big shot on a play. And so that when you walk away from a game against the Jaguars that have done pretty well rushing the passer, you got to feel really good about your offensive line coming off that.
All right, let's move to defense, I guess. Travis Etienne, 11 carries, 45 yards. Seems like, I don't have any qualms with how the Chiefs handled the run game, though, today. Craig?
No, none at all. I felt like they did a really good job. I'm going to say this. I think this was Nick Bolton's best game as a Chief this season. I really do. I felt like he was closer to what we saw as him playing the mic last year. Just looked really comfortable fitting the run, looked really comfortable organizing things. The Chiefs came out, ran some of that bear front, ran some of that mugged up linebacker stuff with Leo Chanel when they were in their 4-3. So they did adopt some of those things that they did against Derrick Henry in the second half of that Tennessee Titans game, come out and they're able to do that. But Nick Bolton also was able to limit ETN in the passing game as well. I know everybody remembers that big 3rd and long screen that he caught. That Nick Bolton was having to carry the guy vertically there, but he blew up another couple of screens. Did an excellent job sniffing things out, limiting ETN. And that was the guy that going into this game I was the most worried about because he is so electric. He has the ability to just break off these huge runs. And Bolton in the middle of the field, keeping everything between the tackles and doing a good job in the screen game, limited him from really breaking the game. So it was an excellent job by the Chiefs defense.
Just so you know, Vikings in overtime still, so that is happening right now. So
fired up members of Chiefs Kingdom, very invested.
If you hear that, if you hear what's going on there, that's why. Anyways, Maddie, continue.
But I just wanted to say that, I'm with Craig. I thought Nick Bolton did play a really good game. I know that generally speaking, we're a little bit more critical of him than some people in the media going around. But I thought he played good, and more so it was when not just run blitzing. There was plays where he was actually sifting down the line of scrimmage and then shooting the gap, and he seemed to be reading it pretty well and pretty fast in this game. So yeah, overall good game from him. I thought Willie Gay played an excellent first half. It seemed like he didn't see as much from him in the second half as I did the first half. But when that Chiefs defense was really clicking in the first half, he was playing great. Craig went off on Trent McDuffie. Got to say, he was as good as ever. On the other side, Joshua Williams played a good game. Wasn't challenged as much, but the one time they did try to go vertical on him, he stacked the wide receiver, gave them absolutely nowhere to throw the ball. The Chiefs secondary, through and through, played pretty well. L'Jarius Sneed might have had his worst game of the year against Christian Kirk in this one. Maybe the injury was hampering him a little bit, but that seemed to be the only consistent offense the Jaguars could get was attacking Sneed. And if that's the recipe for success against the Chiefs, I think you feel pretty good.
Yeah, they had a lot of success from the slot. I mean, Christian Kirk, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving today. He was, primarily the best, the biggest receiving threat for the Jaguars. They did some good things offensively, but they just didn't do it consistently in stretches. And I credit to the defense for tightening up and figuring some stuff out there. 5 sacks, I believe, is the most on Trevor Lawrence in his career. So the Chiefs were able to register 5 sacks on Trevor Lawrence. That was a pretty good pass rush today, Craig.
Yeah, it really was. I think the best part about it, and Steve Spagnuolo still blitzed plenty. Don't get me wrong. You can't take it out of him, even when maybe you're being a little obvious about it on third down. Maybe mug up and back out a little bit, Steve, on occasion, especially when the quarterback's throwing hot all the time. But the 4-man pass rush did a good job. George Karlaftis was a problem at times. Did a really good job keeping the motor hot, batting a few balls down. But Chris Jones was a monster on the inside. He wrecked the game plan several times, having another element to a really good year for Chris Jones right now. We've talked about how consistent he's been this year compared to some previous years, a lot more consistency. We are seeing more and more splash plays. Carlos Dunlap was able to collapse a pocket a little bit, get his half a sack. Mike Dana looked pretty good, and Colin Saunders gets a well-deserved sack as well. That when you come out of a game like that where you're missing Frank Clark, you're missing some members of your rotation that maybe have some of your pass rush juice, and you come away with 5 sacks, that's a really good day at the office, and it's only going to get better as they continue to grow and as they get members back in the fold.
I think that's the big key is Frank Clark was playing some of his best football for the Chiefs before, the suspension kicked in. He was clearly their best defensive end, not defensive line, but their best defensive end. He was getting pressure. He's playing the run well. And in his absence now through these first 2 games, it looks like everyone's kind of stepping up. George Karlaftis still playing very good. He's improving. He's still not, this highlight sack player, but he's playing good. And then you have guys like Craig said, Dunlap's playing better and better. Dana's back and healthy. So this pass rush is turning up a little bit. Steve Spagnuolo had Trevor Lawrence in a world of pain in the first half. Now, they got some momentum at the end of the half, but he had his head spinning for 2 3/4 of a quarter. So that was good to see from the defense. You would have liked to see them put it through for the whole game, but I understand backing off of it a little bit there. Yeah, the pass rush is clicking. The secondary playing really good is nice. I can't wait till they're out of this static cover 2 shell that they like to use a lot still. But I think everything's trending in the right direction.
I want to talk about
Maddie.
Let's talk about a couple of the bigger picture things coming from this game, as far as end of the year awards. And we're halfway through the season. A lot of people don't talk about anything before Thanksgiving. We're halfway through the season now. Can you guys explain to me why, when you look at like some of these betting sites, why Chris Jones isn't listed anywhere on the Defensive Player of the Year? At least being in that conversation, he's not even in like the top 5 to 8 to 10 players listed with the odds of winning that award. Is this strictly because it's a sack interception type award, or should this be looked at in some other kind of disrespectful way? Because I could see you nodding, Craig, but Quinnen Williams is listed on there as having odds for it, and Chris Jones isn't, and it doesn't make sense to me still.
I mean, I feel like because Chris Jones has been good for so long that you have to pop a really elite season. Like, again, you get 9 sacks a season as a defensive tackle, and everybody just kind of crowns you as the second best defensive tackle in the game every single year. And then you have another really good season that looks like it's going to be just barely above that. People aren't going to take note. Whereas Quinnen Williams, they have their eyes on him because he's popping a really good season in the middle of, some turmoil to start a season. But the real reason is the run game isn't sexy. And Chris Jones has been playing the run way better than he was before. And maybe it's at the cost a little bit of some of the sacks that he maybe would have gotten in years past, where you're seeing him kind of swim upwards. I talk to DJ and Mike every week, and they talk about that sometimes. It's like sometimes you got guys that are playing for the big play, and Chris Jones definitely did that in the past. He's doing that far less this year. So it's keeping it at home a little bit more. It means he's not necessarily maybe getting as many chances at sacks as he would have had in the past, but he's a much better player, playing the run well, and he's still getting the sacks. It's still coming. So I think that as the season goes along, if he just continues this, again, the past 4 weeks for him, 5 weeks now, have been terrific for Jones, just stacking sacks on sacks. I think after this week, we might see a little bit of movement. We might start seeing some teams saying, hey, listen, this Chris Jones guy, guess what? He's still really good, and he might shoot up some of those boards.
I think optics play a big role too, though. Quinnen Williams, box score stats are better than Chris Jones at this point. He has more sacks, more quarterback hits. I haven't looked at pressures, but they might, judging by those two, they're probably a little higher. And then you go look at overall team defense. The Jets are winning games based on their defensive play. The Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes in this offense. So the optics of this defensive tackle with better box score numbers and how they win the game, he's more important. Now, I agree. If one's going to be on there, Chris Jones should be at least an option for sure. And he's arguably playing as good as any defensive player in the NFL. I don't disagree. I get the rationale for why he wouldn't be there, given a lot of what he does isn't showing up in the things that people would vote for that award.
Let's move to the other side of the ball. And I agree with all those takes. And I get that it's going to be Micah Parsons. Like, it's going to be a player, edge rusher is going to get a lot of those awards, and they're all good. But Chris Jones deserves to be in that conversation with the season that he's having. When places like PFF are going to have him ranked higher than Aaron Donald, that's fine. Let's move to the other side. Talking about Patrick Mahomes, again, halfway through, leads the league in yards, leads the league in touchdowns, all those different things. Oh, my God. Sorry.
Justin Jefferson's insane.
Justin Jefferson? Insane. Oh, my gosh.
I apologize for listening to the audio after the fact. If you're listening to the podcast audio, we were watching in real time the end of the Vikings-Bills game. It's just now in overtime. But
Justin Jefferson just caught a ball on the 2-yard line. A touchdown gives the Kansas City Chiefs the 1 seed through 11 weeks. So this is insane. I'm sorry. I can hear my echo. I'm screaming. Sorry.
You are just like everybody else in this part. Now let's go back to Patrick Mahomes. Where do you think he is as far as the MVP race? Because I had this conversation with Nate Taylor. I know we've got some highlights that we're going to roll here. I had the conversation with Nate Taylor. He said to me, fascinating by the end of the year, if Jalen Hurts and the Eagles continue doing what they're doing, Tyreek Hill breaks every offensive record set by a wide receiver in NFL history. And then Patrick Mahomes continues to be the best player in football. Where do you guys think we're at after today?
I mean, I think that I think that he should be up there in the MVP voting, and it's going to be the LeBron James thing. We talk about it all the time. Like, he's always been good, and he continues to be good. He is clearly playing some of the best football of his career. This is arguably the best season of his career right now, and teams are going to look at, or voters are going to look at Jalen Hurts and say, well, listen, they're undefeated. They're playing really well. He came out of nowhere. Tyreek Hill is doing all of this in Miami. So I feel like he's going to not get the votes that he would otherwise, even though he is clearly the best player in the NFL right now and is elevating everything around him and this offense. Like, He's been so good for so long that we just kind of get used to it, and people are just going to kind of lean on that.
Yeah,
Maddie?
I think the better Tyreek Hill plays, the more production he puts up, I think the stronger it makes Mahomes' case, honestly. If Tyreek Hill goes out and breaks all these records and then Mahomes is still very clearly the best player in the NFL, like, well, okay, like, what are we going to do with this now? He just lost that guy from last year and then got better this season. So I think Tyreek Hill being so good this year gives him a leg up on potentially winning the MVP. I'd say right now the biggest competition is the Eagles and Jalen Hurts going undefeated, which would be insane. But if that happens, it would be hard not to give it to the quarterback of a team who's playing really darn good of an undefeated team. As soon as the Eagles hit one loss, though, if things continue the way it has been, I do think it's kind of Mahomes' award to lose at this point in time. Like, he's just been that good this year through a lot of different ups and downs of this team, reconstructing, injuries, new guys around. He's just been steadily the best player week in and week out.
Josh Allen's going to have a chance to make an argument here, despite not playing particularly well today and fumbling the ball on the goal line, because the Minnesota Vikings have just taken a 3-point lead with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in overtime. Josh Allen could drive down and score a touchdown to potentially save this game for the Bills. But the Vikings they had the ball on the 2-yard line and they pooped the bed and negative run and then a sack and then just kind of screwed themselves over. So
Patrick Mahomes ruins football for all of us Chiefs fans that are used to watching exceedingly amazing quarterback play. And then whenever you watch anybody else, even on a very good Vikings team, you're just like, why can't they do what our guy does?
We talk about it all the time. Normalization of greatness. Normalization of greatness. It's just he's playing on a different level. He consistently is. The way he makes things look so easy. And like today, it was just a very workmanlike, easygoing four touchdown game. It was impressive.
Yeah, let's go. Tucker's got some injury updates for us coming from the post-game press conference. Tucker, what do you got?
Yeah, these are from our friend Charles Goldman, who's been obviously he watches those press conferences like a hawk. Andy Reid confirms that Juju Smith-Schuster and Chris Lamons both have concussions. Says Andrew Wiley suffered a sprained elbow. So that's not a great one. He also Andy Reid also talked about Juju Smith-Schuster's hit. But he adds not the one making the decisions there, that he's not the one making the decisions there. And the official said that the play was shoulder to shoulder, no head to shoulder. Another quote on that. Guys don't get hit in the shoulder and lay down on the ground like that. That's what I tried to relay to the officials, is what Andy Reid said. Kadarius Toney also said he feels like he's right where he needs to be. And I think I would agree with him on that.
He looks happy. I mean, just the way he's playing, the attitude he keeps on the field when he's playing and stuff. Everything about it. Just
Who's your favorite player? Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes.
Who's your favorite teammate? Yeah, no, we're going to wrap the show up here. We got a couple more segments left, and I know we're going to get to special teams here in a minute, but before we do that, it is that time again for our Toast Game segment presented by our friends up at Holiday Distillery up in Western Missouri. If you're looking for a place to hang out in the Kansas City area, you want to take a tour of the distillery, head up there, go see Matt. He'll take care of you. It's a phenomenal time. They've got the new Ben Holiday bottle and bonded bourbon out. And if you can find it in the shelves at your local liquor store, go check that out because it is amazing. But our Toast Game MVP, Kent, we'll start with you this time. Who are you raising your glass for after today's 27-17 victory?
Noah Gray's coming on a little bit here. 3 catches, 45 yards last week, two catches, 20 yards, and a touchdown today. He's playing a pretty solid football lately. Noah Gray's my guy.
All right, Maddie, we'll have you go next.
I think that we talked about him a little bit. We're going to go with Prince Tega Winogo. I think just having to step in that situation and then not having any noticeable drop off in offensive line play and quite frankly, looking really good out there in limited reps. So yeah, big toast to him. And we'll have to see if he has to fill in for a long term, what that looks like going forward. But the first test was a pass.
Cheers to Prince Tega. As much as I want to put Clamps McDuffie on the stand here, I'm going to have more opportunities to do that. Man, we got to toast to Carlos Dunlap. 100 sacks. Yeah. Getting that half one, 100 sacks. Toast to you, man. He's been a revelation, a really good free agent addition. Brett Veach might be good at this stuff.
All right. I am going to raise my glass to Kadarius Toney for 6 touches, 90 yards, averaging 15 yards a touch. A lot of people didn't know what the expectation was going to be for him this season, let alone 2 games in, to make the impact that we saw from him today. And again, it wasn't just design plays. We saw him go up and kind of moss one on the sideline. We just saw the highlights of that just a few minutes ago, making plays all over the field, which is exactly what the most optimistic Chiefs fan was looking for when Brett Veach and company traded for him and brought him over for a couple of mid-round picks that you already feel like the Chiefs won that trade. So this is for Kadarius Toney, making what is hopefully the first of many impacts during his time in a Chiefs uniform.
And he only has 3.5 years left in Kansas City. Only.
A lot of cost control. I think that was one of the things. Like I think we're all geeked out about what they've been able to get to this point, but like this did feel like a long-term move, but it feels like they're in really good shape long-term. If a guy like Kadarius Toney's going to continue to do what he's doing.
All right, and now, guys, we have a drawing for the winner of the KC Sports Network Charlie Hustle hoodie, just like the one that I'm wearing, and the T-shirt, just like Ken is wearing. One lucky person is going to win both of those items, thanks to our friends over at Charlie Hustle and us for sending it. It to you. So that was for anybody that retweeted and followed the post on social media. And Tucker has got a winner for us. Tucker, who's the big winner?
Yes, I am running the draw as we speak. I misspelled our Twitter handle, so I had to redo it. My keyboard is double types my R's for some reason.
Hardest working man at KCS.
Yeah, I just make it harder on myself is what it ends up being. Okay, here we go. Doing the live draw right now as we speak, continuing through. The winner is...
We could help him out, but we're just going to let him figure it out.
Brent. Shout out Brent at Wallbash1675 on Twitter. You will have a DM. We will
nice.
DM you.
K-Stater.
Let's go, Brent.
Love it. Congratulations. You got some KCSN gear coming your way. Make sure you DM him.
I will DM him right now.
Shipping information. We'll probably do some more of that. As we got this new gear, you can find the link for it in the description of the YouTube page. You can find it on social media. Go to charliehustle.com/KC Sports Collection/KC Sports Network to find all the new swag.
It's great. I love it. I still need to get my hoodie, but I know it's soft and comfortable when everybody keeps talking about it.
Their way of saying you haven't got your hoodie yet.
It's a little hint, Beach.
All right. Well, Grant's going to get a hoodie before you are after that comment.
Oh, please.
All right, let's talk a little special teams to wrap this one up. We'll have a few more days after this to break this one down. But
do we have to?
Our live reaction is Craig's idea, so he can go first.
My idea. Special teams is a problem this season. I know that like we've seen it cost the Chiefs a couple of games here. It's becoming more and more and more of an issue. Teams bringing the ball out and losing yardage instead of just taking the ball and kneeling on it in the end zone. Obviously got caught off guard by an onside kick here. Harrison Butker has now missed either a chip shot field goal or an extra point in 3 consecutive games. And then the fourth one, he did miss a long field goal, far more understandable. Tommy Townsend's really the only guy right now that's playing with any sort of consistency on special teams. It's been bad. Lots of fumbles, lots of mistakes. This is how bad teams hang around, and the Chiefs have allowed bad teams to hang around because of that. So I just look at this, and I'm looking towards January. We do that a lot and trying to say.
Play made possible by the K-Stater on the last one. Bills lost.
Patrick Peterson? Patrick Peterson with the game-winning kick.
Oh my gosh.
If you were watching live, you saw me look at Kent and I said K-Stater as Duke Shelley broke up the pass to Dawson Knox on the play right before that.
I bet you we'll get a few people in here for a second. The Kansas City Chiefs control their destiny in the AFC now after the Buffalo Bills have lost at home to the Minnesota Vikings after a Josh Allen, not my MVP, interception.
You can't do that
to Patrick Peterson.
Obviously, but
I think is that his 4th turnover of the game or his 3rd? Is it his 3rd or his 4th turnover?
3rd, I think. But
is it his 3rd or his 4th turnover? I don't know. But the Chiefs are in control of their own destiny now in the AFC.
Let's go.
They have they can, if they run the table, it doesn't matter what anybody else does, and it's still early. Obviously, I know they're 7-2. There's 8 games to go. They control their own destiny. They control their own destiny now in the AFC. This is amazing.
I'm like old grumpy man because I hate that saying. Just saying. Control your own destiny. Anyway, if you like that result, hit the like and subscribe button. Maddie's got a look. Control your own destiny. I'm just an old man. Like you just can't control destiny.
With that. No, I'm fine with that. Yeah, if the Chiefs win out, they get to go there. But yeah, saying they control their own destiny, like that implies that they can make the rest of the teams like play bad or everything else. I'm with you there. I wanted to bring it back to the special teams because Craig was in the middle of a fantastic point, and then Josh Allen's lack of MVP status ruined that for us. So special teams though, the big mistakes are there. The leaving points on the board by missing kicks, the fumbling returns, all that stuff is there, but. Not more concerning, but equally concerning is just how bad they are. Giving up big returns, having poor returns on their own. Like their starting field position this year is a stark step back, and they're not pairing that with big plays as well. So just not only are they having these big dynamic plays on special teams that are negatives, but their consistent down in and down out special teams play is down. It looks bad. It looks like a poorly coached special teams play right now. And if that's the case, that's not great. That's not great because that's supposed to be one of this team's strengths, and they are going to be costing them games.
It looks at least, though, that they have solved one problem, which would be the punt return game looked a lot better with Kadarius Toney back there. A little more comfortable back there. A little more confident back there. The Kansas City Chiefs, thank you to everybody that has jumped in. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. We are celebrating a Chiefs win and celebrating the current 1 seed in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, after the Buffalo Bills didn't have the MVP on their football team and lost. So, anything, Beach?
It's a good day.
It feels good. We were talking before the game. It just felt like a weird vibe today. Just things kind of just felt like kind of weird, and like just the game too. Even like it just was more workmanlike. The energy and the intensity. I'm not saying it wasn't there. It just felt a little different, right? Coming out of the Tennessee game, and this was a weird day, and the Chiefs win by double digits. They cover, and they go, and now they're the 1 seed.
What?
Before December hits. I mean, it's crazy. I thought this honestly. I thought when this got tied, I was like, how many more games are the Bills actually going to lose? And they've lost 2 since then. And Josh Allen's he didn't look right today. He didn't look completely right today either. Yeah. So
last week you got Chiefs taking on the Chargers next week, and the Chargers playing tonight in prime time. So, Chiefs fans, sit back and enjoy that one as well.
Try not to look too ahead of the schedule, though. But the Chargers game's huge next week now. Like the magnitude of this Chargers game just gets just ginormous for this football team because we're looking at the Chargers are heavy underdogs today. They can really separate themselves from the rest of the AFC, AFC West. I'm sorry, with a win next week.
The Chargers lose.
The Chiefs can really separate themselves from the AFC West, and we're sitting here looking at this is at Los Angeles next week is one of the biggest obstacles to this team running the table. I think this is one of the toughest games that they're going to experience the rest of the year. So, everything just got crazier already. This is wild.
One thing we haven't done on here enough, and this is a special shout out to close out this show. I want to shout out Christian Gumminger.
Yeah.
Our guy who's out at Arrowhead every single week for the home games. He's meeting all the different people that we give tickets away to for home games at Arrowhead Stadium at KC Sports Network. We give away 2 tickets every week randomly to a subscriber of our paid Substack newsletter. You can find the link if you're interested in getting an email, 2 emails a day, morning, a bunch of analysis that you can't find anywhere else. Guys putting in the work, doing that content. And then in the afternoon, Charles Goldman giving you the updates of the day. You can sign up for free. You get the afternoon emails from Charles, but the morning ones you can get from these 3 guys along with Joseph Hefner, new addition to KC Sports Network, a sports data and analytics guy, really breaking down in a really cool way, in a really way that anyone can kind of understand it, breaking down content in that way for us every Saturday. But a lot of cool content. We give away 2 tickets randomly to a subscriber of our paid Substack. And then also we donate 4 tickets to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater KC to take 4 people who have never been to Arrowhead, never been to a Chiefs game, or very influential within the Boys and Girls Club programs to give them something cool to go and do. And Christian, our guy, he's our community outreach coordinator. He meets with both of those sets of people. He takes the kids from the Boys and Girls Club over to the team store, buys them hoodies and t-shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. Part of what we do with the KCSN Foundation. And so I want to shout out Christian. He sends the photos. We tweet them all out, but he's out there running around doing all the work. He's enjoying the Chiefs game as well. But special shout out to Christian for doing that work and helping us out on the foundation with all the different things that we do. But particularly when we have home games like this and get to give that experience of a game like this to different people.
Special. It's getting to see the photos that we wound up posting on KC Sports Network was one of the coolest things when you're home looking after the game and all that stuff. So shout out Christian, great dude, big heart, and excited to have him being part of this. Pretty great.
All right, final thoughts, Craig, before we let everybody go. What you got?
Trent McDuffie, really good at football. End of thoughts.
Love it. Maddie, what you got?
Kadarius Toney, really good at football. End of thoughts.
Tucker, surprising you. What do you got?
Yeah, I wasn't really prepared for this. I hope Juju Smith-Schuster is going to recover fully and healthy because he played a really good first part of the game.
Is he related to Juju Smith-Schuster?
What did I say?
I don't know.
It was Juju Smith-Schuster.
I don't know.
Let us know in the comments what name Tucker just said. Give us that final comment.
What that?
Before we let everybody go, Kent, what you got?
Patrick LaVon Mahomes, really good at football. End of thought.
Chiefs, just really good at football. Andy Reid, very good football coach.
MVP Pat.
Brett Veach, very good general manager. A lot of things are working for the Chiefs right now, and a lot of things are working for us at KC Sports Network, and we appreciate all of your support. We know there's a lot of cool places to get your Chiefs content. We appreciate being one of those places that you stop, whether you're watching live or whether you catch the podcast afterwards. We appreciate you following us on your favorite platform of choice to consume content. For myself, BJ Kissel, for Kent Swanson, Tucker Franklin, Maddie Lane, Craig Stout, and Christian out at Arrowhead, we appreciate all you for tuning in. Enjoy the game tonight. You'll have more content from us at KC Sports Network throughout the week, including a live laboratory on Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Turn those notifications on so you don't miss that. But appreciate all your support. We'll see you all next time. Go Chiefs.